When you think about playing a game, whether console or mobile, do you ever keep playing purely for the feeling of earning a reward?
When you pick up a quest that offers new gear or weapons, do you try to complete those before quests that only offer gold? This is all part of game design and using psychology to keep players playing.
Before we get into things, I just wanted to officially welcome Chris to the How Gaming Helps series as a permanent fixture. He's been a guest a few times in previous videos, and we work on them together behind the scenes, so having him co-host just made sense. It's all super exciting, and I hope you like what we come up with in the future.
Thank you for adding me as co-host. I'm really looking forward to what we come up with as well. Working on these videos has been super fun.
So back to this video. You might have seen games that offer loot boxes or pay-to-win mechanics, usually in the shape of using real money for in-game advantages, such as gear or XP boosts. These are more obvious examples of something called Skinner box games.
So who is Skinner, and what's so special about his box?
In the 1930s, a psychologist named B.F. Skinner created an experiment to study behaviors in animals, focusing on operant conditioning and reinforcement. The box would isolate either a rat or a pigeon from any outside sound or movement, with a single lever on the inside. Every time the animal would pull the lever, food would be dispensed.
The animals would slowly learn the relationship between pulling the lever and receiving food. The more they pulled, the more they ate, reinforcing the behavior. This could also be used to encourage negative reactions too, such as delivering a shock or loud noise whenever the lever was pulled. Once the result was understood by the animal, they decided if and when they pulled the lever.
How does a pigeon in a box relate to video games? Well, we're the pigeon. Video games offer players rewards in many different ways in order to keep them playing. We can see examples of this in mobile games, where their shops offer loads of time-saving items or in-game currency to help boost you through the game.
If we take a step back from our favorite games and look at what draws us towards playing them, usually it's the reward system in place or the feeling of satisfaction we get from certain actions. Rewards don't always have to be items or currency. They can be real-world feelings of accomplishment, bragging rights, or positive feelings towards learning something new.
When playing survival games, we usually want to keep going to see how far we can get, and the feeling of accomplishment drives us. Racing games give us rewards in the shape of beating other players or NPCs. Puzzle games make us work for the solution, which is satisfying in itself, but also gives us a confidence boost from problem solving.
As with Skinner's experiments, however, this can also lead to negative outcomes such as game addiction or, in the case of loot boxes, gambling addictions. Loot boxes are common in console and mobile games, where you buy a mystery box that contains a range of items, cosmetics, attribute boosts, or even stronger characters. This can cause people to keep throwing real money at them in order to get the item they want, which could take many, many tries and a lot of cash. Much like a compulsive gambler playing the same slot machine in hopes of the big payout.
This issue is not limited to digital games either. Players of a certain age may remember the parental panic surrounding Pokemon cards during their peak, as the rarity of certain cards caused parents and teachers to view the game as a form of gambling aimed at children. Some players can become fixated on using all their resources in order to attain an item, a character, a particular athlete, or so on, which can lead to other real-world problems. This isn't to say games are a gateway to drugs or alcohol addiction, just that the same behaviors can be seen when people chase the feeling of reward.
Games can lock story or level progression behind abilities or conditions, even as fundamental as defeating a boss or completing a core objective. Because of this, a player has to practice their own skills in order to move forwards, which combines with the core gameplay loop designed to condition the player for positive and negative outcomes in game. The dopamine hit from this skill improvement and mastery of the game's systems is combined with the tangible progress rewards of plot and game progression to encourage further play and engagement. This can most easily be summed up with Jamie Griesmer's famous 30 seconds of fun quote from 2002, in which he says, "In Halo 1, there was maybe 30 seconds of fun that happened over and over and over and over again. And so, if you can get 30 seconds of fun, you can pretty much stretch that out to be an entire game."
To be clear, Griesmer's quote has been taken wildly out of context before, so let's not do that here. As he mentions to Engadget, he does not mean that it's literally the same 30 seconds of gameplay over and over again. The context is constantly changing. What he means is that the core action and response gameplay loop feels rewarding enough and conditions us enough that we want to keep going because we find it so satisfying. We receive the progression rewards as well as feelings of accomplishment and mastery, which all act as a boost to our perceptions of ourselves as we play.
So, putting a pigeon in a box has had more influence on gaming than we realize. Yes, game designers have used it for both positive and negative reasons, but if we understand the psychology behind it, we can be more mindful of our behaviors. We can stop ourselves from overspending or treat ourselves once in a while.
This isn't to say all games are manipulating us or trying to brainwash us. They're just using a system of operant conditioning and reinforcement to make a game enjoyable for as long as possible. It just so happens that money became the main driver for some games. But as long as you're aware of why these things exist, you can manage how much you engage. You can decide when and how often you want to pull the lever.